Hello. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to an early coffee run live. Let's make sure that we are working before I launch into all of the things, because that would be more than annoying if it were not working. But look at that. We have liftoff and oh my God, it is episode number 600. Yes. Good morning, Diane. How exciting. Can you believe it? I can't believe that it is episode 600. Feels like a really huge milestone, but it's almost at the same time. It's like I remember getting to like 50 and being like, oh my God, this feels like such a big milestone. And then getting to 100 and feeling like a big milestone, and getting the different seasons finished of the other things that I was doing. So what I thought I would talk about today for our very fabulous number 600, please excuse my eyelashes being quite uneven. They're lockdown life, right? They're due for filling up tomorrow, I think, or the next day. Anywho, doesn't matter. You're not here to look at my eyelashes, although they are normally fabulous, just not today. So one of the things that I think that I was really, really interesting was my kids came home probably earlier this year, I think, as well as perhaps last year, and they said, we had to Google our parents. Right, so it was a bit of a lesson at school. They had to go and Google their parents and see what came up. Hey, Tammy, how are you? I wish we were warm here. It's a very freezing cold today. Very, very cold. I know, Carmen, we are early today because it's 600 and I was excited to go live. So what would happen if your kids or your grandchildren Googled you? Like, what would they come up with? Would they be able to see all of the different things that you've talked about, the stuff that you're passionate about? Would they see, what would the articles that you have written say about you? What would you be, what would they be able to see? What would they be able to look at? And what I think is wildly hilarious is that my kids have come home and they're like, oh my God, Mum, do you know how much you are on Google? There's like pages and pages and pages and pages and pages. There's the other podcast interviews that I have done. And then there's, all of the things that I've done, the lives and everything else. And I guess like part of that, Tammy, mine would see all my photography. Amazing. That's awesome. I hope we see some of you as well. The thing about photographers is that you're notorious for not getting in front of the camera. You're often behind the camera. Robin, Minnesota. Oh, you are moving across the country. I hope the weather is lovely where you are as you come into a very gorgeous summer, I'm sure. So I guess like one of the things that I've learned, I thought that I would share with you not only the stuff, obviously that's going to show up on the Googles, but it's really important for you to think about, I guess, shift our way that we think about content. So for me, exactly, Tammy, always behind the camera. Good morning, Gary. How are you? TCI is the coffee run because coffee, and it's usually at 11 o'clock where I need another coffee. So, so we share our coffees together, or we share our champagnes together if you're on the other side of the world quite often. So one of the things that we've got to think about, thank you, Carmen, is thinking about what is your content doing while you are not in the room, or while you are not live, or while you're not out there, visibly out marketing yourself, right? Or actively marketing yourself. You're not sitting there like doing a live stream. What is the rest of your content doing for you? And part of the thing that I think about this is that a lot of people that I work with, they are very, very driven by, creating impact and all of that, but also by really leaving behind a very powerful legacy. So, hands up if legacy is important to you. I mean, I know for me, if I was to be like, yes, legacy is important to me. If I was to be gone tomorrow, what I know is that there is a huge body of work out there big, like on the internet, on my website, on my page, everywhere. That's kind of like, to me, that is a huge part of my legacy, which is all around motivating and inspiring entrepreneurs and people who want to be entrepreneurial, perhaps within their businesses or within their practices, to be able to, put yourself out there and go chase the life of your dreams, right? And do the work that you really love doing and just revel in the kinds of clients that you're able to work with and hang out with and have fun with at the end of the day. And so for me, it's like, all right, if I was to be gone today, and if I think about my work life, then the legacy that is there, like that stuff doesn't go anywhere, right? That stuff is timeless. So to me, like that's a lot of the legacy work. And I think part of the thing that we think about with content and social media is that it's all very just, instant, it's now, and then 5 minutes later, it's gone, there's something new coming out. And yeah, there is, but this is where you want to make sure that your content is able to be a bit more timeless than just dropping down in the news feed and disappearing, after, the next microsecond scroll where somebody picks up their phone and goes like, Pshung! And then, you're gone, right? So we want to think about legacy content, and we want to think about how you can make your content more viewable, I suppose, on a longer term scenario. So here's the thing. Yes, you need to have in the moment content. Thanks, Mariana. I'm glad you agree. So we've got that in the moment content, right? So that's like this, we're live, we're doing the things. I'm saying hi to you guys as you come on in, which is always really fun and exciting. We're hearing where some of you are viewing in from, which is, globally, which is so fun. And this is really in the moment content. Now, I have a choice where I can just go finish the live, let it upload, and then be done with that, right? Now, that's really great because on one hand, I've gone and created this piece of content. You guys can come back and listen to it whenever you like. It lives on my Facebook page under the videos section. If you want to go back and have a look at the other 599 episodes of the Coffee Run, or you can go and have a look at the Visible Live seasons. I think we did 6 Unstoppable Entrepreneur seasons / Visible Live seasons where I treated it a little bit more like a television show and was very directional and prescriptive in the content that was delivered. So there's like another 60 or 70 odd episodes of those seasons that I did. I haven't done any this year, and I don't know that I did any last year. I might have done some early last year. I can't remember now. But I guess like we've got this in the moment content, right? And you can store that in your Facebook page, but thank you, Robert. I know it's pretty exciting. The thing is, if my Facebook page gets shut down, right? If for some reason I say something that someone doesn't like and they go and report it, or I happen to go and share something that ends up being a bit polarizing and someone decides, or the Book of Faces AI robots decide that I'm an evil, nefarious person who is, out to thwart the growth of humanity, right? They can shut me down like that. And all of this bank of content, this vault of content, gone, which would be really shit because, at least, well, for 600 days, I've done these episodes, and these episodes typically go for anywhere between 15, 20 minutes, half an hour, 40 minutes, depending on how many words I have to get out. The Unstoppable Entrepreneur / Visible Live seasons, they were all at least a good half hour, maybe 45 minutes long. And there are a whole other bunch of things that went in there. It would all be just gone, which would be, for me, it would be devastating, right? There's all of this work that I've gone and put into it. So one of the things that you want to do, and this is something that I pay a virtual assistant to do, I don't do this personally myself. At the end of the episode, my VA goes in, she downloads the episode and then puts it on multiple channels. So it goes up onto YouTube, the audio goes into SoundCloud, which then goes to iTunes, which goes to Spotify. So it goes all over the place. It then can be stored on my website as well, should I choose to have it on there. And I can also have it transcribed if I want. So, part of the legacy the legacy piece of content is making sure that it is accessible and viewable not only in the moment. And I think this is where a lot of us sort of think, oh my God, you know, the news feed is getting more full and getting more congested and everything else. And yeah, it is. But we can also be smart about doing it as a two-prong approach. So then the other part is the after the moment content, right? Which is where you're going and you're sharing it all over the place and making sure that you've got that content vault that people can access and use and utilize and get to know you without having to always be here live when you are going live, right? It's like watching a rerun of Friends. You know, if you know where you can go back and watch that, yes, it would be awesome to be live and in the audience when they were filming that, but you can go back and watch Friends on reruns or in Netflix or things like that. But if Netflix were to get rid of that, then where else can you go and find that content, right? So think about it a little bit like that. Just because it's not in the moment doesn't mean that it's not still going to be relevant to somebody later on down the track. Now, the disclaimer there is that if you're talking about something on the 8th of June where, you know, it's very prescriptive, very, you know, this is what we have to do today to get through the 8th of June, then, you know, that's a different story. That might not be eternal content. But for the most part, a lot of that advice that you are giving is probably going to be valid long-term, not just today, not just in the moment. Mariana, I have a virtual assistant who does that for me, so I don't do that myself. I just have got better things to do, like painting or like coaching or creating or, you know, coming up with new things to give away and stuff like that to help you guys and, you know, help you to get to know me. So I have a virtual assistant that does that content dissemination. So, you know, that's one thing to be considerate of. And I guess that the other thing that I know can happen is this. It's like, it's all well and good. Actually, let me rephrase this. I remember in 2010, I was working in corporate and I had studied to be able to, you know, basically run this business. And I was like, all right, well, you know, making $100,000 a year would be amazing, right? Back then I was like, oh my God, like I can't even imagine making $100,000 a year in my business. That just seems so far away because it was like so far removed from my reality at that time. I was making more than that in corporate, but I didn't know how to make money in my business or I didn't think I knew how to make money in my business at that time. And so I remember just thinking like, oh my God, you know, I'd be freaking happy with $3,000 a month to start with. And then I'd be happy to grow that to $5,000 a month. And then I'd be happy to grow that to $10,000 a month. And then I'd be happy to grow that to 20 and then 30 and then 40 and then 50 and then 60 and then 70 and, you know, so on and so on and so on and so on and so on. So I know that what happens for some people is that you might look at the number of episodes that I've done and go, 600, fuck, that's a lot. How do I even start? I started out literally just going, all right, I'm going to do, there's if you look in the video archive, you'll see some day in the life of Nicola videos. I think I maybe did, I don't know, maybe 10 of them at the start. And for me, it was where at the end of the day, I was like, all right, I'm just going to share a little bit about what's gone on in my day, because I kind of figured that if I'm making, you know, $500,000 or $1 million a year, then that might be, you know, how I spend my day might be something that would be of interest to those people who followed me at the time. And so I was doing the day in the life of videos. I'm like, this is just really fucking hard work. It was getting to like 4:00 in the afternoon and I'm trying to get all of my final things done, or 4:30, and I had heaps of stuff to get finished. I'm just like, this is not working for me. So originally I was like, all right, I'll do it at the end of the day. I changed to doing it about 9 a.m. because I was like, all right, well, I know for me, if I'm coming in a bit more fresh-faced, I'm coming in a little bit more less frenetic, trying to finish off the day and trying to, you know, deal with kids and, you know, all the rest of it. And it was like, all right, if I go live at 9 and I just commit to doing that maybe, you know, a few times a week, we'll see what happens. So I started doing that. And then I was like, all right, you know, the thing that works for me, and I don't know, you've got to work out what works for you. But one of the things that worked really well for me is I announced it and I said, hey, you guys, I'm going to go live at 11 a.m. I decided 11 o'clock in the morning because that would help Western Australia people see me, depending on daylight savings and stuff. Thought for in Australia, that helps. 11 a.m. is about 1 p.m. in New Zealand. So I thought maybe on their lunch breaks, that'll work, which is also like maybe 5 or 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time and Pacific Time. So I kind of figured from a global time zone perspective, 11 a.m. Victorian time was kind of like the sweet spot, was what I felt. So I publicly committed. I said, right, here's the deal, you guys. I'm going to go live at 11 a.m. every day, with the exception of Tuesday mornings, which is when I did my, like more of the show, which was at 9. I was like, right, if I commit to you that I'm going to show up, then I will. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to do this for 30 days and see what happens. I didn't tell you guys that. And I thought, right, I'm just going to get to 90 days. And like, I'll go live every weekday. I don't do weekends. Every weekday for the next 3 months, I'm just going to do that. And it's like, oh, this is really easy, because the more you're talking, the more you're showing up, the more you're visible, the more interaction you get, the more questions you get, the more content you can kind of create out of the little threads that kind of get pulled along the way. And so for me, I didn't set out to do 600 episodes, although I think it's going to be pretty amazing when we get to 1,000. You know, can you imagine? Like, how cool? Like, that's amazing. So part of the thing for me is like, the reason that I do this is not only for the in the moment content, it's also for the legacy content, because the majority of what I'm talking about in terms of the advice, the hints and the tips, guys, this stuff is timeless, right? The things that I say to you guys every single day is the same stuff that I've been talking about for the last 11 years, right? 11 whole years. That there is slight different twists on it, and you know, there's some that have been a bit more educational. There's some where I'll step into some of the energy stuff that I really love and I'm passionate about. There'll be things that tie into sales. There's things that tie into marketing. There's things that tie into content. There's some things that just tie into makeup. You know, there's like all these different topics and subjects that we've been able to explore over time. But I didn't set out to do 600. So, or 1,000 initially, right? Or even 50. It was like, let's just do 30. Let's just go live every day for a whole month and see what happens. Not weekends. So my throw out challenge to you is, why not just start? Why not start creating your in the moment content that also then contributes to your bank, your vault of legacy content? Why not start today? Because here's the cool thing. I think in February, actually, there was a woman who said to me, she's Nicola, I have just spent like the whole weekend binge listening to all the things on SoundCloud. And I'm like, oh my God, you poor thing. You just had like a massive Nicola overdose. You must be feeling very motivated. And she said, you know, it's so helpful. And I had another lady just in April. So just like 5 weeks ago, basically told me the same thing. She binge listened to a whole bunch of my stuff. She binge watched actually on YouTube, which is where all these videos go, as well as LinkedIn and my Facebook profile and, you know, all of the other places. Robin, exactly. It is starting small. And it's not about giving them hours or weekends or weeks or months or years of content of you that you can listen to. It's about giving them enough content so that they can get to know you, right? So that they can feel like they trust you, so that they feel like, yeah, you know what, this Robin, she's an expert. You know, she talks about EMDR, she talks about trauma, and she talks about how, you know, we can definitely, you know, move forward and progress in our lives. And, you know, this is someone that I really trust. I feel like we connect. And that's the job of your content, right? The job of your content is to connect with your audience. But the bigger job of your content is to help your audience, right? And then the people that are still able to get help from you, from like the stuff that you created 5 years ago, let's say in 5 years in the future, the stuff that you're creating today is still going to be able to help people move through, even if You decide to change industries. You might decide to throw the towel in on your business. You might decide, no matter what happens, the stuff that you are creating is still incredibly valuable today, as it will be in 5 years, as it will probably be in the next 10 years. So start small. Give yourself the challenge to go, all right, for the next 30 days, I'm going to go live every day. And then use someone, either a virtual assistant or do it yourself, download the videos, put them in all the places so that people can find you no matter where they go. And if they go and Google you, they have got the most ridiculous amount of content that they can go through and learn more about you and get some help from you. And then I can promise you that there will be a percentage of people that will say, oh my God, this person fucking rocks. I need to buy from them. I need them in my life and in my world. I need to get their help. How can I go about doing that? Right? And that's really, I think the most exciting thing is that you then get to have an impact on people, not only when you work with them, but also from the other stuff that you're putting out there for free, which is I think it's a really beautiful gift to the world that you're able to provide. So on that note, my friends, happy 600. Thank you for hanging out with me and continuing to celebrate and support and most importantly, use the stuff I give you to go out and create impact and help the people in your worlds. If you need help with creating content, then Visible Live is coming up really soon. So make sure you jump on that. Otherwise, you know what you need to do. Get yourselves out there, go help some people, have a whole ton of fun doing it, and remember that the world is ready for your brand of awesome. Mwah! You rock. I love you. I will see you tomorrow.